Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Welcome to Sporgy,
the show that gives you half-ass sports fans giving their half-ass opinions.
and now here are your hosts.
Here we go. It's Fantasy Hacks Championship Week 16. I'm Chris. With me are JR and Jack.
Yo, JR here.
What's happening?
Oh, what's happening is I'm going to the ship in 2 leagues, especially one where I'm defending a title. Currently, got the belt right next to me here in the studio, the championship belt. 5-0 too. Second time in within maybe 3 weeks. I'm saying that. So good week for me. How about you guys?
I'm playing in 4 ships, 11 leagues, lost 3 semifinals last week and won 4, including the big league, which I had to sweat out on Monday night because I had a 15-point lead going against the Steelers D. But the amazing Bungles pulled off a very impressive upset over the Steelers and minimal damage with only 2 points from the defense on 2 sacks. Who would have thought a third-string quarterback for the Bengals would avoid a turnover or a pick six? But Jack watched the game with me. Even with 5 minutes left, I was still convinced that something could go wrong. But that was the big one for me, the big money league. But I am in 3 other ships. One for pride, one for family, and one for beer. Actually, two beer leagues where the beer is the prize. But the big one is the money league. I did lose in my Vegas money league, which was only $50 a team this year. And we, interestingly enough, the commissioner, because of the COVID, he was going to cancel the season and decided we would all have the computer draft for us. I might have mentioned that on an earlier podcast where I ended up with 5 tight ends after the draft, but traded one off, and I'll still finish 3rd or 4th, and 4th gets your $50 back, so I'll at least break even or make a little money there. But the big league, I'm in the ship playing the dreaded Doomsday. And I think I beat Jack in 1 or 2 this week.
Oh, you beat me in the family league.
The family league to go to the ship, and then I will also beat him in a consolation in a free league, which I just do to kind of warm up. But that one, neither of us made the playoffs, but I bested him for the toilet bowl. Anyway.
How'd you do, Jack?
Overall, not too bad.
Well, I mean, I had an epic collapse this week. I'm just not going to put it lightly. I think I lost 8 leagues that I was in. I mean, it was
rough
kind
week
of
to
brutal.
do that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I am still going into the chip in 1 league, but I mean, it was just a disappointing week. I remember I had Carr that ruined one league. I forget what other had. I think I had. I just had a lot of underperformers this week. I can't even name all of them. I just had so many underperformers this week that did not come through, and they failed, and I lost. But I'm going to the chip in the 1 league, so I mean, dude, it was tough. I remember checking my fantasy scores halfway into the afternoon games on Sunday. I'm like, man, I really blew it, and it sucks because a lot of those victories where the margin wasn't very big. It was 6-7 pointers where you could have had it if one guy produced.
I wonder how many playoff runs Derek Carr ruined last week.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
I mentioned the money league. The guy I played against and I beat him by 15 points, and he had Carr in at quarterback over Kyler Murray. And he had already congratulated me and said that this will haunt him for the entire offseason, the decision to bench Murray. Now, full disclosure, he's a fellow Eagles fan. Maybe he thought, oh, well, Murray's not going to do well against us, which I would have thought the opposite. I feared that the Eagles were going to get blown out in this game, but he's definitely regretting that. But I made a few bonehead knee-jerk decisions, too, picking up Jeff Wilson and starting him over Melvin Gordon, which cost me some points. And I also figured DJ Moore wouldn't be 100% coming off the COVID, and he had a huge day, and I had him on the bench in favor of T.Y. Hilton, who had maybe 6 or 7 points. So, I had room for improvement, too. I got lucky with the car injury. That pretty much was a gift, an early Christmas gift for me. But, hey, I'm in the ship. That's all that matters.
Hey, another Christmas gift for you in the Sporgy League. Rich was working on Thursday, totally gapped out, forgot to set his lineup. So that was a gift win for you. Because you only put up, 107? But when it's a guy, he put up, 83?
Yeah, he had, but I didn't see anything glaring, but I wasn't really looking at his bench. I was just looking at the score. And, it was one of those, but I've had enough of those 130, 150-point losses this year, too. So sometimes, the fantasy gods, things even out for you. I escaped. I'm sure 107 isn't going to get it done this week, so I did have a lot of my regular guys had kind of substandard days. The big one for me was Aaron Rodgers. I think he only had 15 points. I mean, he's been turning 30, 40 pointers. I knew I was in trouble when he had that early game and didn't get very many points. I had Lamar on the bench in one and Herbert on the bench in the other. But I mean, Rodgers got me here. I'm going to ride him again this week. And both, I just got to do it.
That's how I feel about. I have a team where I'm defending the belt, the championship where I can actually win money. I got Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. I mean, Josh Allen's got me here. I gotta stay with him, right? I mean, he's just been.
Yeah, you can't bench him. I did see a couple leagues where people benched him and it cost them dearly.
No, trust me, I was salivating looking at the matchup with Herbert. But I was like, I can't.
I was overthinking things last week, and I think the big lesson is if you've gone all year with basically, majority, when everybody's healthy, you have the same lineup, and you try to get cute and play matchups and sub guys in and out. The only exception was I did decide I wasn't playing Zeke the rest of the season, and lo and behold, he was inactive finally, so that made it even easier. But and the guy I played against picked up Pollard, and Pollard had a pretty good productive day, 2 touchdowns, I believe. So the lesson to be learned, though, is stick with your guys. I rode with DJ Moore all season long. I benched him.
Dance with who brought you.
I don't regret the Rodgers thing, but I rode with Melvin Gordon all this year, too, and I was just like, well, he might not do so well. And, of course, he gets 2 touchdowns when I benched him for Jeff Wilson. What was I thinking there? And now I got Wilson this week, but Mostert's out. So now Wilson will be the guy, but I think he's got a tough matchup. I think I'm going to go back to Gordon. I just want to go. I'd rather lose with the guys that got me here.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you got to do at this point. Anything else we want to say about Week 15 before we talk about what's left of the waiver wire? I mean, do you even work? I guess we could talk about that. Do you even work the waiver wire in your championship week? I've heard a couple of podcasts I listen to talk about the only moves you should really be making this week on the waiver wire are to keep your opponents from picking up people. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah, so say someone has, Zeke or something, then you pick up Pollard. But I mean, probably everybody did that last week. There was I can't really think of a big name injury that nobody would have covered. Did anybody big get hurt this week?
Carr got hurt, so there's Carr desperate for a quarterback.
Yeah, but,
I thought about
better options.
There might be some leagues where Jalen Hurts is still available. Would you pick him up and start him over Rodgers, though? I can't do that.
I wouldn't start him, but I would agree with the tactic
pick him up
of
so no one else gets him.
Yeah, just stashing him on your bench so he can't do any damage against you. Because it looks. Got to ask you. You're the Eagles fans of the pod. I mean, I think the Eagles look like a completely different team the last 2 weeks. What about you guys?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's a spark there. But I mean, he's been very accurate passing. He moves around and is able to throw on the run and kind of just keep. He adds another dimension to the game. You know, he's still a rookie. He's still learning, but you just see it looks like the players are playing harder for him than they played for Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's fair, but Wentz has that hold the ball too long and doesn't throw it away, and you don't see Hurts making those mistakes. He still extends play like Wentz did, but I've seen him throw the ball away, or he'll run to the sideline, even if it's for no gain, and just run out of bounds, and wait for the next play. And it seems like Wentz every play just never gives up, and that's why he gets sacked a lot. So you can't. There's no denying. I mean, they've already named Hurts the starter for the rest of the season. There's no denying. There's a spark that they haven't had. It's breathed new life into the team. It seems like the players are playing with more fire, and he's been a breath of fresh air. And it's going to be a big decision to see what the Eagles are able to do with Wentz.
Well,
are they able to move him off that massive contract?
Didn't he come out and say that he has no interest in being a backup?
We're
reading reports
there, but a lot of that has been, debunked. The Philadelphia media is about as ruthless as our fans. So you're going to hear all kinds of stuff that, take it with a grain of salt. Unless you hear it from the horse's mouth, I can't go with it. But I'd be disappointed if I were Wentz. He's a competitor. He wants to be in there. Everything I read, though, and Coach Peterson has said that Carson has handled it like a professional. Maybe he's just saying the right thing, but he has said that, so I have to believe it. But it's going to be an interesting offseason in Philadelphia. There's no doubt.
I'd say I wanted to say, hey, if they put Hurts back in October, you guys have a chance of playing January football. But you're in the NFC East, so you still have a chance of playing January football.
We need draft capital. We don't need wins.
As an Eagles fan, I don't want to be like the Jets and blow it. I thought it was great that the Eagles played a competitive game and took it down to the wire against the Cardinals, but still took the L to keep a good draft position. I think at this point in the season, that's probably the best outcome for the games. I can't sit there and root for them to lose. I just can't. I always want my team to win, but at the end of the day, when the dust settles, I'm like, well, that wasn't so bad. We looked pretty good. But, you're seeing other players come back from the dead. Look at Alshon Jeffrey was, given up for dead, and, he's made some plays. Fulgham didn't have a single catch till the fourth quarter, and he got 2 or 3 on the same drive. Zach Ertz is back. So, it'll be interesting to see who's coming back, because I don't think they're going to be able to keep Ertz in, and Goddard has a better deal. I think you're going to see some turnover in Philadelphia, and I'm anxious to see what happens if they're able to move Wentz. I can't see them keeping both of these quarterbacks. Yeah,
I see Ertz or Goddard going somewhere else, and I see Wentz going somewhere else.
I think Ertz will go before Goddard, because Ertz is older. Goddard's younger, and he's got a real bright future. I think his contract is advantageous over Ertz's.
Yeah.
So I think this is the last season for Zach Ertz in the Eagles uniform. I think he'll be playing somewhere else next year.
I think there's a path to greatness in Philadelphia after this season, especially with Hurts. I think Wentz and Alshon Jeffrey's ridiculous contracts leave, frees up cap room. We barely lost that game yesterday without Slay, and not yesterday, but we barely lost that game without Slay and are their top 2 corners. And you figure in the draft we'll get Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase with a top 10 pick. Receivers ending up could look like one of those 2, Rieger, and then a committee, maybe Ward. And we already have Miles Sanders, who leads the league in yards per carry. Hurts looks great. He's mobile. And, with Wentz, when the play's collapsing, he can't really do much. He's just keeping his eyes downfield. He gets nailed. Hurts he's good pocket awareness, and he gets out. And he usually picks up 2 or 3 yards and avoids the sack, which ends up extending drives and puts more points on the board. So I'm liking what I'm seeing next year.
Well, and don't forget that two All-Pro offensive linemen are out for the season right now, Lane Johnson and Brooks. So
the future is bright, in my opinion.
We'll see what happens. Well, let's not talk all night about the Eagles. Let's talk about what about the collapse of the Pittsburgh Steelers, 11-0 to 11-3, and a loss to the lowly Bengals.
They haven't played anybody. It's my same thing with Green Bay. Everyone's talking Green Bay and New Orleans. They haven't Pittsburgh. They're getting exposed.
But you say they haven't played anybody, but who in the NFC is that team that no one wants to play? The AFC is loaded with them.
Well, that's the thing is the Super Bowl champions come from the AFC this year. Yeah, the NFC is garbage this year. Like it's
Chiefs and the Bills look like the two strongest teams in football right now.
Yeah, but that's another dirty secret about the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are perfect against teams with winning records, but again, they haven't played any teams. Almost 2/3 of the Chiefs' games have been against below 500 teams. So it's I'm picking my favorite. I'm riding the Bills to the Super Bowl, like till further notice.
That'd be a nice story. My money's on the Chiefs, but you know what? It'd be nice to see the Bills come back from after losing those 4 Super Bowls. There's a soft spot in my heart that would like to see the Buffalo fans get that ring.
Yeah, I mean they've had one of the toughest schedules in the AFC, if not the league. They're good against winning records. I mean, to me it's all about the Bills till further notice. I mean, the Chiefs are going to chief, but. Yeah, the NFC.
Hey, and how about those Cleveland Browns?
That's right. Dark horse prediction to do good this year.
Good football team, and I wouldn't doubt it at all. I'm going to predict it now that division is going to come down to the last game of the season. I think the Steelers are going to lose at Indianapolis, and the Steelers and the Browns will be playing for the NFC North title on Week 17.
AFC North.
That'd be great. AFC North.
Yeah, it's one of the toughest. It's between that and the NFC West is the most competitive division.
Yeah, and speaking of the AFC West, what is wrong with Russell Wilson? After that tremendous start, he is not. It looks like they're going back to that running style and not throwing the ball like they were. And for fantasy players, man, I've got a couple leagues where I got one league where I have Russell Wilson as my starter and Ben Roethlisberger on the bench, and there's no one available. Jack, that's the Desert Burrows.
Of course.
One of my beer leagues, and I'm in the final, and it's this convoluted ESPN 2-week thing. So I got to go 2 weeks. I got to play Week 17. I don't think I have a choice, but I'm not starting Big Ben right now. The way the Steelers are a train wreck.
I can't say they haven't had a tough schedule, so I don't know what his deal is.
They just looked awful on Monday Night Football. I mean, they looked awful. They lost to the Bengals with their third string quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, the Steelers. Yeah, that's.
So beware of that. Russell Wilson's concerning me a little bit. He's tailed off. I'm looking for that big game like he had with Lockett and Metcalf, and now all we're seeing is a bunch of running. A lot of running and slowing, burning the clock out, and not a lot of fantasy points for Russell anymore. Russ is still cooking, but it's simmering now. It's not boiling anymore.
Yeah, there's no team in the NFC that to me really looks fearful.
I agree. I mean, you were asking who of the Saints played. Well, who's there to play in the NFC? Yeah. Who's going to scare you? It's the Packers and the Saints are the top 2 teams, and they both have holes in them, I think.
Yeah, the 2 strongest schedules in the NFC are the Eagles and the 49ers.
And how many teams lost with Devontae Adams only getting 40-some yards last week?
Oh, I loved it. It was great. It sent me. He was the team I was playing to go to the ship in. He was one of the couple players. Like I was playing against a team that had Derrick Henry, Devontae. Those are the 2 players I was worried about. Henry still had a Henry day, but Devontae Adams kept it at 11 points. It's like, thank you. That's another guy who probably ruined some championship runs.
Oh, well, I couldn't wait to get on the show this week, now that I remember, because I think we all have to take a minute and laugh at the NFL fans for voting Evan Ingram into the Pro Bowl. What are you doing? Why did you vote Evan Ingram into the Pro Bowl? Really?
Is there a new...
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, is there a new... Is the NFL trying to go out like the MLB now and everyone from a team's got to make it, trying to install that rule?
But
Wow, I didn't even realize that. That's a disgrace.
That is just sad. I mean, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Like, half of the NFC's tight ends got hurt or something. We had, Kittle go down. I mean, the Rams have, 2 that split. Buccaneers have 2 that split. I mean, Hawkinson got in, which I thought was good. But, I mean, the main argument people were bringing up was Tanyan. People thought Tanyan should have made it over Ingram. I mean, Ingram did get hurt, and even when he was on the field, he didn't play that well. But, I mean, I thought that was sad. Is it just the big New York market getting all their fans to vote? But even their fans were laughing at that. All the Giants fan pages were like, "What? How did he get in the Pro Bowl?"
I don't think Ingram stayed on any of my rosters past October.
Same here. I remember when they played the Eagles and he dropped that ball that would have won the game. He hasn't been the same since. I shouldn't even say that because he was never anything before that game either. They say he's an athletic freak of nature, but he hasn't shown me much.
Not this season.
He'll be on my do not draft list next year. How about Baker Mayfield going up against the Jets this week? How's that looking? He might be available in some leagues, but again, if you're in the ship, you got a quarterback.
Yeah,
you lost Derek Carr and someone else.
I don't think you're in any ships if you had Derek Carr.
Yeah, well, I'm in that one ship with, who was it? Roethlisberger's the backup, and I can't remember who the other quarterback was, but I just said it earlier tonight, and now I'm having a brain fart, but who was it? Come on. Russell Wilson. He's on the ESPN. He's the 13th ranked quarterback this week going up against the Rams. I can't start Roethlisberger over him against the Colts, so I'll be going with him, but I'm a little worried about that Rams game for Russell Wilson. And how about those Rams losing to the Jets? And the Jets can't even win when they need to lose. They can't even lose when they need to lose.
At Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is now in play for you.
Yep. The Jets fans have just got to be beside themselves.
Unless the Jags blow their tank this week and beat the Bears in Jacksonville.
Doug Maroney says the Jags, although I think this was before the Jets had lost. Doug Maroney said the Jags are playing to win. They're not playing to get a quarterback.
Well, they can play to win the game, as Herm Edwards would say.
Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
If you look around, you'll see the world can be pretty smart. Okay, very smart. At Capella University, we think education should be smart too. That's why we're reshaping online learning with our FlexPath format. You can set your own deadlines, take classes at your own pace, even leverage your previous experience to move faster. So when it comes to earning your bachelor's degree, you know what kind of choice to make. A smart one. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Bodega, Alpha and Omega. Siamese sailors sell celery sandwiches. Sawing-a-bada, serving platter.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
Did you want to try reading that line on the script there?
Oh, yeah, let's see. You could say big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, that one?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just not warmed up yet. Shouldn't be long. Detector test.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive today.
The marmot mangled my mushy pork pancake.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporty.
Let's get into this week. We got, someone brought up a good point. I heard on a podcast this week. As weird and messed up as 2020 has been, we had every night of football this year. We had, Tuesday, Wednesday night football. And I'm saying all this because we're having Friday night football. We're in Christmas football. We're having the Vikings and the Saints. So the Vikings, obviously, you're starting Dalvin, you're starting Adam Thielen, although he gets you one touchdown last week, and that's it.
Jefferson.
Is he a starter?
He's a flex this week.
But other than
he got 100 yards last week.
Yeah, I'd say he's in the flex conversation.
He was on my big league roster, and I was watching the red zone with Jack. And he got a play that was garbage time, and the Minnesota was going down for the desperation last 30 seconds of the game. He threw it out to Jefferson, and the referee ruled him out of bounds, and they replayed it. They went to a commercial, and they came back and made it a good catch. And that was the one that got him just over 100 yards, which in that particular league, we have a 100-yard bonus of 5 points. It's not a PPR, so that was like a gigantic play for me, and it, gave me the cushion I needed. Amazing, just that one play.
But other than on the Vikings, that's it, right? You're not starting their tight end. You're not starting Kirk Cousins.
Nope. Don't overlook Jefferson, man. He made the Pro Bowl. Did you know that? Justin Jefferson was voted into the Pro Bowl by the players.
Oh, good for him.
So, but yeah, Dalvin, Thielen, Jefferson. I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all you're starting. I mean, Cousins, if you're starting Cousins this week, you're in the consolation bracket.
Yep.
The Saints. Oh, the Saints. What do you do with Drew Brees?
And he looked rusty. I don't think he's right. I think they brought him back too soon.
I mean, it was a tough game to bring him back. I mean, it's probably your marquee, the biggest marquee matchup for the Saints, at least for the rest of the season. Michael Thomas, he's done for the season. He will definitely be on our list next week of fantasy busts.
Oh, my gosh. What a bust he was, too.
Yeah.
Did he even have one game with double-digit scoring?
Yeah, and I think it was 10. Like, I think he just went into double digits.
Gosh.
But yeah.
And he was drafted like 5th and 6th in some leags.
Oh, yeah. My one buddy.
He was such money in the bank last season.
He sure was. Yeah, trust me. I had one buddy playing a league with him. Yeah, he's pissed. He was his first round pick, and he's just been playing catch up all year. Trust me, I get it. In the Sports League, I had CMC.
How many receivers do you think are first round picks next year? Maybe Cheetah, maybe Devontae Adams. That's the only two I can think of that I would even consider.
DeAndre Hopkins is quietly having a good season.
Yeah, don't remind me about that one-handed catch he made. That was brilliant.
Like, he's got that crater for, like, November, but he's been having a decent season. Yeah, for receivers for next year. Yeah, it's going to be a running back heavy first round next year. But the Saints, yeah, Alvin Kamara, that's probably it with confidence, right?
Yeah, and Kamara hasn't been putting up numbers either.
But you still have to start him because he's Alvin Kamara.
Yep. He could go off and get 30 points in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs, I think one thing I noticed when I watch Chiefs games, they always last forever because there's so many passing and incomplete passes and the clock stops. You get way many possessions, made more plays, and at the end of the day, more statistics. So that'll also bleed into the New Orleans statistics. I think you're going to see some bigger numbers than usual. And no Clyde Edwards-Helaire now, so I guess it's Le'Veon Bell time.
Yeah. We'll get into the Chiefs in a little bit. Moving to Saturday, though. Lions fans, we won't lose on Sunday because we'll lose on Saturday. Bucks and Lions. AB finally.
Did we miss the Chargers and the Raiders?
You are on last week, sir.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I am. I'm bad.
It's all right. But yeah, Bucks, Antonio Brown. There it is. The week everyone's been waiting for who drafted him. And probably got it for most people on their bench. It seems like it's back to Evans and Godwin, right? If that's who you're starting with confidence.
Oh, yeah, I've got Evans in the big league, and he got 110 for me last week. I got to think he's going to get 100 against Detroit. Indoors, too.
Yeah, and if you're going to start the GOAT, this is the week to do it.
Against the Lions. Listen to these stats. Lions defense, 30th in the league in total yards allowed, 27th in the league total passing yards allowed, 29th in the league rushing yards allowed, and points allowed, the worst in the league, are allowing an average of 31 points per game. That's embarrassing.
The GOAT.
Wow, and Matt Patricia was a defensive genius. He really assembled quite a defense there during his tenure, didn't he?
Yeah, the GOAT's going to GOAT on Sunday. Tight ends. I mean,
how about Leonard Fournette?
How about him? He's
against Detroit. Ronald Jones is out. He's the man.
Yeah, it'd be volume play.
Fans, don't you? I have him. It's a dilemma. I think I got to start him. Don't you? Against the Detroit defense, he scored 2 touchdowns last week. I don't think he's going to get 100 yards, but I think he'll push a few in.
It's still Leonard Fournette. Like, he is just...
Yeah, but it's still the Detroit defense.
His reputation is he is wildly inconsistent.
And I bet you Evans and Godwin will get a couple of fast interferences in the end zone. First and goal at the 1, and there's Fournette. I'm starting. Maybe that'll be my bold prediction.
There you go.
2 touchdowns for Fournette. He's going to get double digits against the Lions. We're already ahead of the game for bold predictions there.
You starting Gronk?
Against the Lions.
That's an iffy start. In the championship game, you're going to rely on Rob Gronkowski in 2020?
I'm not in that league because I have Waller.
Oh, yeah.
Waller's a no-brainer no matter who he's playing.
For the last 2 weeks, absolutely. In the last 2 weeks, Darren Waller has put up 75 fantasy points. That is ridiculous.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
Better defense, but, I mean, he's their best weapon.
Yeah.
I like how they looked with Mariota, too, but...
And then
anyway, are there any Detroit Lions you're going to start? Maybe Swift?
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson out of the list. Is it Stafford hurt still?
No, he played.
He said he hurt his ribs in practice.
He left at the end again.
Oh.
Yeah.
He didn't play like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's because they were hopelessly behind or he was hurt. I have to think he was hurt.
It's probably a little column A, a little column B.
He could.
I mean, the Titans were up like 20 points. They're probably, my ribs. Coach, I got to sit. The only line I would tell anyone to start with confidence is Hawkinson. He's like tight end, 3 on the year.
I really like Swift. Maybe not this week. He had a big week last week, didn't he? Jack, how many fantasy points did Swift have, or what was his stats?
Looking it up. Hang on. He had an okay day, I think. From what I saw, I think I have him in a couple leagues, so I was keeping tabs. Let's see here. Detroit Lions versus Titans. Let's see here. DeAndre Swift, 15 carries, 67 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. That's a decent day. 15 yards in the passing game on 4 catches. I mean, dude, Swift is looking like one of the... He's going to be a PPR god in a couple years if he keeps this up.
James White 2.0.
Like 5K. James White. Dude, I love James White, honestly. In PPR leagues, he's like the perfect flex.
Yeah. Next Saturday game. Technically a home game for both teams at the moment. San Francisco and Arizona. San Francisco, I think at this point, it's Brandon Ayuk. Don't even mess with the running game.
Well, just remember, there's no Mostert, so it's all Jeff Wilson this week. But, I just hope he lasted into the second half.
Yeah,
But you know what? It's either him or Melvin Gordon for me, and I think I'm going back to Gordon.
I mean, Gordon's at least got the equity of his reputation, right? Whereas, I don't trust any running back at San Francisco this year. Just don't. I mean, Brandon Ayuk's proven to be a revelation. If I'm Deebo Samuel, I'm thinking this season I probably lost my job. I'm now number 2 after this season.
And see, Beathard's starting quarterback for the Niners, so probably low expectations.
Yeah. Tight end, yeah. If you're starting Jordan Reed, you're in a consolation bracket.
I would be remiss not to mention that there are rumors that Kittle may play this week.
Yeah, I did hear that. But Kittle coming off of an injury.
Could you not play him? I mean, if he's in, you got to play him, right? Or do you think, maybe he'll go in and not last the whole game, or they'll work him in slowly? That's a tough call there.
See, I don't know if he's got the rep, to be fair, there's only one sampling with CMC, and that's this year where he got injured, came off an injury, had a crazy game, then went back to injury. Doesn't he need to warm up?
I believe the 49ers were eliminated from the playoffs last week. I believe I remember seeing that when the other teams won. So really, is it really worth it? If you're the 49ers brass, you should probably tell them, no, sit Kittle for the rest of the year, get him back healthy next year. There's nothing to play for. Yeah,
you just gave him a whole bunch of money. You want a return on your investment, and it's best to have him for good to go for next year. Cardinals. I think at this point, Kyler's a locked-in starter. D-Hop, definitely. And then I think that's all that I could tell you to start confidently, because the backfield in Arizona, at this point, I don't know. 1 week it's Drake, 1 week it's Edmonds. Don't mess with it.
I think Drake is the primary, but I think Edmonds gets enough that it's like a 1.5-headed monster. It's ugly, and nobody's putting up 100-yard days for them. I think it's more about the passing game, and even the running backs are probably going to get some passing, some dump offs. And then the other factor is Arizona's rushing attack is really Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
We're going to run the ball. He's probably going to be the guy running it over Drake, and more often than not. So you probably have a point there, Chris.
They're having the same problem Baltimore's having. One of their best running backs is their quarterback. Although
J.K. Dobbins looks like he's emerging late in the season.
But as far as on the Cardinals, I mean, that's it, right? The quarterback and DeAndre Hopkins, and that's it. If you're starting Christian Kirk or whoever the hell their tight end is, again, you're in a consolation bracket.
And I saw one owner last week that still had Zane Gonzalez as his kicker. Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's now Ted Nugent. Mike Nugent, but I like to call him Motor City Madhouse.
I was playing against a guy last week, and I'm the commissioner in this league, so I went and fixed it. This guy apparently set his lineup about a month ago and just left it. He still had Taysom Hill in at tight end, so he was still collecting points, off a Hill. And I was like, well, I'm playing you. Screw this. And I'm the commissioner.
He's worthless now.
Yeah.
So he's quarter.
And then the final Saturday game, the Fish and the Raiders, the Dolphins. Who do you Salvon Ahmed was a good last minute for me. Was a good last minute pickup to start, just because there was.
The Raiders defense is suspect, so that But how many people in their ship are going to be starting him?
Yeah, how many? Or any Dolphins? Devontae Parker is on the back of a milk carton.
Gesicki's hurt and been spotty. Tua's not a lock. Yeah, I don't know.
The Dolphins defense, really. That's who you start.
Parker. Yeah, interestingly enough, I have the Miami defense or the Ravens defense this week. Who would you start?
All there. Baltimore's playing
Ravens playing the Giants.
I'd play Baltimore.
Yeah. That's who's in there now. But you know what? Miami against Vegas, especially if Carr doesn't play. Although Mariota looked impressive, so. And then on the Raiders, you're probably not starting Mariota. One game is not a large enough sample size, less than a full game.
Hey, Jacobs and Waller. That's it, right?
Keep it simple.
Yeah, especially for championship week.
There might be some Aguilar flex players out there. I'm not going to be one of them, though.
What about Ruggs? See a thing?
I thought he's hurt. He was hurt. He may or not play this, but he's one of those all or nothings. He's like a Hollywood Brown. He's either going to get a bomb for a touchdown or he's going to get like 2 points. Not worth the risk in Week 16.
All right, so Sunday now we move to the Chiefs and the Falcons. Oof, it's going to be ugly. Falcons. Ridley, is that it?
Call me crazy, but I am starting Matt Ryan. Like I said, there's a lot of plays in a Chiefs game. You know, the game gets elongated. There's more plays, more drives, more scoring opportunities. The Chiefs' defense isn't nearly as strong as their offense, and I think Matty Ice is going to get 2 or 3 touchdowns here, and he'll be playing from behind, and he's got no running game. Gurley's not effective.
Gurley was
Ridley's going to be good. I think Julio's probably going to be out. I don't think Atlanta has anything to play for. He's been, he was inactive last week again, and it's a shame I have him on my roster in that big league. But even if they bring him back, I'm going to be afraid to start him.
I think I read Todd Gurley is no longer the starting running back.
Who is Brian Hill?
Falcons demote Todd Gurley to backup role.
Whoever
Smith is now Atlanta's lead rusher.
Whoever it is, the running back for the Atlanta Falcons is not a viable starter this week. pick any of them and throw them all in the trash. Because the running attack is going to be abandoned early because the Chiefs are going to pile up points, and I think Matty Ice is going to air it out like he always does, and he'll get 340 yards and probably 3 touchdowns, and he'll lose by 20.
Yeah,
that's what the Falcons do. And
I think
he may win. He may be up 17-0 early in the game, but then they won't score again. I've never seen a team so adept at blowing leads. They did it last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Matt Ryan is like now the A-tier. It used to be Stafford. Matt Ryan is now the A-tier garbage time fantasy quarterback who just gets his points, late in the game. But I mean, Chris, you said it was going to be ugly. Let's break that down real quick. Chiefs offense, first in total yards, first in passing yards per game, tied for first, points scored total per game. Falcons defense, passing yards allowed, 31st in football. Total yards allowed, 29th in football. This is going to be ridiculously ugly. I could see Mahomes throwing for 600 yards.
If you're going up against Mahomes this week, God bless you. Good luck.
Yeah.
He might score 40 or 50.
So, let's go to the other side. Let's go to that side of the ball. You're starting Mahomes. You're starting Cheetah. Running back. What do you do? CEH. That's pretty much it for at least till the playoffs, maybe for the year.
Is Le'Veon Bell a viable starter? I'm not sure he is.
I think he's got to be now. It's got to be the volume play.
Maybe you got to think they'll be ahead and they'll run the ball, but I don't know. If
I'm Le'Veon Bell, you swoop in right now and you steal the starting job for next year. You have a fantastic run here. You carry him through the playoffs. You do a good job. You're the starting back next year, buddy. It's time to Drew Bledsoe, CEH. Let's go.
Well, it's kind of reminding of the Fournette thing in Tampa. He's the last man standing, and this is an opportunity. Both of those guys, you like to think it's a volume play and they'll do good, but there's a little doubt in both of them. They both have the high ceiling, but a low floor, in my opinion.
Got a Wally Pipp opportunity here. Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
Kelsey, definitely. He's inhuman. He is a machine.
If you look at the tier of running backs, it starts with him. Especially with Kittle being out most of this year. I mean, he is just way ahead of the rest of the pack.
This year, it is Kelsey and Waller and everybody else. For real. Like Waller this year has snuck into that tier with Kelsey and Kittle, in my opinion. Browns and Jets. Oh, the Jets are riding high.
Sure.
Oh, Lions, you're still safe. You're still the only 0 team.
Chubb.
Yeah. Chubb.
Hunt.
Yep.
Start both.
Do you
Are
start
any
Baker
receivers
Mayfield?
worth starting in this game? Are you starting Jarvis Landry or Rashad Higgins?
No.
Rashard Higgins, actually, I think is the. Let me see here. All right. Receiving yardage. Is Rashard Higgins the leading receiver this year?
For the Browns?
That can't be true. Come
I think
on.
it could be.
Well, he has 544 yards in the year. He's averaging 15 yards per catch. That's kind of insane.
It is the Jets.
Rashard Higgins is second on the Browns this year in receiving, behind Landry's 789 yards. But I think, how about Baker quietly putting together the season 3,802 passing yards. 3,082 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 picks, passer rating of 99.4 on the year. That's not bad, Baker. What, third year in the league? That's, decent numbers for, a team that could make the playoffs. But, how about the Jets? Offense, total yards, 32nd in the league. Passing yards, 32nd in the league. Points, 32nd in the league. Third down percentage, 31st in the league. Like, this is going to be ugly again. Another blowout game, potentially.
Do you risk? Do you start Baker Mayfield in your ship against the Jets? It's a favorable matchup.
Had the Rams not lost last week, yes. With the Rams doing that, I'm just like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I saw what happened last week. Do I really want to try that?
Nick Chubb.
Trap.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah, Nick Chubb, though, he's going to run all over that defense. There is no defensive front whatsoever, except for Quinn and Williams.
In defense of the Jets, they, along with the Bengals, have had the toughest schedule this year in the NFL as of this week. They have played the most over 500 teams. But, yeah, they're still only 1-13. Are you starting any Jets? Is there any Jet, maybe Jamison Crowder in a flex? And that's maybe...
Nope, can't do it.
Yeah, not this week.
Nope.
There's no room for error this week unless you're playing Week 17.
It's in the consolation bowl.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. It's last week. There's no room for error. It's win and go home for most leagues. Here you go. Colts and Steelers. This is going to be a good game.
I 100% agree.
Jonathan Taylor is rising.
Welcome back.
Wow, how about this? The Colts open up favored on the road against the Steelers by 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Pittsburgh's a dumpster fire right now.
I feel like the QBs are just looking at themselves in the mirror for this game. Do we have the same quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger and Rivers.
And I'm venture to say there's not many fantasy teams that are in the ship this week starting either of those guys. And they're not bad. They're just not great. And they're probably, when they roll that out at the end of after the, who won their fantasy leagues here, they're going to have who was on the roster. These guys aren't going to be on that list.
Yeah. Both have receiver by committee, in my opinion, at this point. Well, T.Y. Hilton seems to be back from the...
T.Y. Hilton, but I'm not starting him against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
No.
he seems to be back from the dead, but it seems to be just Rivers is spreading the ball around. Sometimes it's Hilton, sometimes it's Pascal, sometimes it's Pittman. So I wouldn't trust a Colts receiver. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor. Definitely trust him. No Colts tight end. Pittsburgh. Again, receiver by committee.
There's no running attack. There's no running attack, and that's what's wrong in Pittsburgh, I think.
Speaking of fantasy busts this year, James Conner. Oof.
Yeah, James Conner let down.
And
you were talking about Steeler receivers. What? Okay, so here's the yardage breakdown from this season. Number 1, Deontay Johnson, 753 yards. Number 2, Claypool, 718. Number 3 is Juju, and number 4 is Ebron. They're spreading the ball around. There's no clear favorite, so it's very annoying for fantasy owners. Same thing with the Colts. Somehow, some way, T.Y. Hilton leads the Colts in receiving this year with 675 yards.
Got
so this is
in the last 3 weeks.
Well, so most of them came from a game a couple weeks ago.
It's just because they're throwing the ball to the fifth string tight end, the practice squad players. On both sides, it's just tough.
Yeah, Jack Doyle even got part of the action last week.
Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World.
The year is 2019, and someone is getting up to use the bathroom at the stadium.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Mind if I just squeeze by here?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World.
Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're gonna fit sold.
Pop stars with auto-tune.
Yeah.
And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporty.
Moving on to the Panthers and the football team. Yeesh. CMC. I mean, it's man.
Tough.
What do you?
Oh, that's a late game.
He's gonna be on that bus list this year, right? He's played 4 games, and he was the number 1 overall pick. I mean, he did not do what you drafted him to do.
And
I think it's unfair to put someone on the bus list if they were hurt. Like, it's one thing if they didn't produce, but I mean, it's another thing if they just weren't on the field. But it was very annoying considering I had him in like 3 leagues. Like, what are you doing?
I have had several teams. The Mike Davis, I'm pretty worried about him going against that Washington D. You know, the Washington football team is slowly building a solid defense, and I think people are starting to notice that.
And they're 5th in total yards allowed defense.
They're top 5 defense this year. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not going to be very inclined to start Mike Davis against the Washington football team this week. DJ Moore, maybe.
What about Robbie Anderson?
Yeah, Robbie Anderson didn't do much last week, did he?
He did not.
Well, no, he did not actually. No, he did. Yeah, he had like a whole 3 catches or something. But how about this? Panthers, 2,000-yard receivers this year. DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson both surpassed 1,000 yards this year. So
I think the Washington's going to stop the run, and Carolina's going to have to pass. So there's hope for not for Teddy Bridgewater as much as DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, but could be tough sledding in Washington.
And then the Washington side of the ball.
I want to start any Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And then I'm not starting any of the football team either.
Yeah, and speaking of that, maybe the Carolina defense is the way to go. I don't know if you saw there's some controversy over, what's his name, the quarterback.
Dwayne Haskins was an idiot, and he went to a strip club after winning.
With no mask. With no mask.
Caught him in 4K.
So I think they have no other quarterback. They said they weren't going to cut him.
But I know, but I think Smith is going to play.
For COVID violation, they might suspend him. So keep an eye on that.
Now, to me, these...
football team says that Alex Smith is hopeful to play. So.
To me, their records are separated by a couple games, but to me, this is the same team playing each other.
I don't know. I think Carolina has a stronger offense and a weaker defense. I think Washington, it's all about the defense. But as far as overall effectiveness, you're probably right.
Between the two of them, you could have one good football team. Bears and Jaguars. The Bears, all of a sudden, a 500 team. You starting David Montgomery this week?
Gosh, he is.
He's hot.
You know, we talked about it as soon as he has come on in the last month. He's been very effective. He scored like 35 points last week.
Let's see.
He had a week. I know that.
Yeah, he had a week, 32 rushes, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. The week before that, he had 11 rushes for 113 yards and a touchdown. So he's getting around. He's had in the past 3 weeks, he's had a total of 5 touchdowns. So that's good production.
And Allen Robinson, still a starter?
Yes. Especially this week.
What about Cole Kmet?
Geesh.
No.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
When I was trying to think of with David Montgomery is Tariq Cohen. As soon as Tariq Cohen went out for the season, they were always using him as the dump off and third down back, and now it's all about Montgomery. And he has really flourished since the Tariq Cohen got hurt.
And then let's see, on the Jags, to me, the only Jag you're starting with confidence is James Robinson. That's it.
100%.
I think he's banged up. I think he left the game last week with an ankle injury.
Yeah, I think he is questionable, so keep an eye on him.
Keep an eye on that, and that's too bad because he had such a great season. I hope he can still play, but I don't think they're going to lose out on Trevor, so then maybe they'll just err on the side of caution and sit him out.
He's definitely the leader in the clubhouse for waiver wire pickup of the year. That guy.
Right.
Ravens and Giants. I guess Wayne Gallman's a thing, huh?
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be a thing this week. But he has been fairly effective over the last 6 weeks. But I don't know. Baltimore has a pretty good D.
Yeah.
I think they're going to stack the box and force Colt McCoy unless Daniel Jones comes back. And if Daniel Jones does come back, he probably is not going to be the running threat that he used to be. So this could get ugly. I like having that Baltimore D. Are there any Giants? I don't know.
No.
I don't think there's a single receiver I would trust. Sterling Shepard, no. Evan Engram, we already talked about him. I don't know how he made the Pro Bowl, but I'm not starting him against the Ravens. I don't think I'm starting a Giant.
Nope.
Maybe Gallman as a flex, maybe.
I want none.
We have another option. That's it for the Giants. Baltimore, you're starting Lamar.
Yeah. Seems to be back.
Maybe J.K. Dobbins. He seems to have... the cream seems to be rising on the top. I think Dobbins had a pretty big day last week, didn't he? He had a couple touchdowns.
Yes, he had 14 rushes for... Oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, versus Jacksonville, 14 rushes, 64 yards, and a touchdown. He did have a fumble, though.
The last month and a half, he's finally been worth owning. I had him on another team I held on to him until almost the end of October, and then I cut bait with him. As soon as I cut bait with him, he finally started doing something.
That being said, he's no more than a flex because Gus Edwards is still a threat to be the goal line guy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably avoiding that Baltimore backfield. We say this almost every week.
Yeah, and you really don't. And then the pass
Hollywood
catchers.
Brown, no.
Boomer bust. Yeah.
Mark Andrews is a starter.
Yeah.
He's not last year's Mark Andrews, but he's still a solid starting option at tight end this week, especially against the New York Football Giants.
And moving on to the riding high Bungles against the Texans.
Texans have that bad run defense, but I don't know if Giovanni Bernard is the answer.
He was the answer on Monday.
It's going to be a dumpster fire. This game is going to be terrible.
This is a short week. This is a game no one wants to watch. Jeez.
Houston by 9, though.
Deshaun Watson's the only guy I can think of that I would start for sure.
Mm-hmm. But David Johnson, maybe. I mean, it's for sheer volume. He had a good week last week. I think his best week of the season. But there's in this whole game, there's maybe 2 people I would start fantasy wise. Broncos and Chargers.
Melvin Gordon, baby, go Melvin.
Is that it on the Broncos side of the ball?
It's against his old team. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder.
Revenge game. But,
yeah. I don't know if you're starting KJ Hamler. I don't know if Noah Fant's healthy. If he is, that might be viable. I don't think many people are starting Drew Lock.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Gordon's the play here, if anyone, on the Denver side of the ball. And for Los Angeles, you're starting Herbert.
Keenan Allen.
Eckler probably. Keenan Allen, and Herbert is probably it. Oh, Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry, he's a solid option.
And I'd like to emphasize the probably on Eckler. Eagles and Dallas.
Jalen Hurts, baby. 6th-round quarterback this week on ESPN.
How about being the best quarterback in fantasy last week?
Ooh, he was?
I think so, actually.
Kyler Murray.
I've seen that.
Even better than Josh Allen
here.
put up like 41 points.
I gotta check this. I think I saw it. It might have been on him. Yep, yeah. Perfect lineup. Hurts had 37. What a weird perfect lineup this last week. Hurts, Pollard, Montgomery, Calvin Ridley, Hopkins, Waller, Tony Pollard, and David Montgomery were your top 2 running backs last week.
Yeah, it's bizarro week.
That's weird.
And that, my friend, is why fantasy football drives many to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, how many people were scrambling at 11:45 last Sunday looking for Tony Pollard? Because all of a sudden Zeke was inactive. I was one of them.
My opponent picked him up and started him. I went to look for him just to shield him away from somebody, and he had already picked him up. And I was like, oh, that's fine. He can have that. And then he scores like 26 points.
Yeah. But on the Eagles, who is Miles Sanders, right? They're just with
Against
confidence.
Sanders.
Yeah, he's finally getting the volume he deserves.
Sanders and maybe Goddard. I'm not sold on Ertz. I think he's being phased out. They're going to still throw him the ball, and there's no receivers that I'm starting.
Yeah, I agree. And Dallas. What do you? At this point, are you starting any Cowboys?
Maybe Pollard, but even the Eagles actually do seem to do pretty well against the run. So who knows? Maybe C.D. Lamb might have a game, but are you really going to trust that?
I can't even tell you to confidently start Amari Cooper at this point.
Well, there's no Darius Slay in Philly. At least I'm pretty sure he's out again. If he is, then you're probably starting Cooper. Just because the Philly secondary is suspect. But
yeah. And Rams at the Seahawks. The Rams playing for their playoff lives after being embarrassed by the lowly Jets last week. Let's see, the Rams. Akers is out. So who do you Robert Woods? He seems to be this year the receiver to own.
Yeah, but you never know. It might be Cooper Kupp this week. You know, that's one of those crapshoots that you're throwing darts. If you're starting a Rams receiver, you're throwing darts.
Yeah. Well, speaking of throwing darts, it kind of seems to be the same thing with the Seahawks receivers. I mean, Metcalf has emerged as the
Lockett and Metcalf, but you never know who's going to get what.
Yeah.
Metcalf only had 4 points last week.
Mm-hmm. And then the Seattle backfield, it's not durable, and it's a committee.
Carlos Hyde had like an 80-yard run last week, but that was one run.
That is a horrible combination, like brittle and committee. And I don't think you want a tight end on either of these teams. Maybe Tyler Higbee. He seems to be heating up at the moment.
Realistically, I mean, who's a guaranteed start in this whole game other than maybe DK Metcalf? He's probably the most likely guy that you're starting for sure. And
Russ,
we got to start Russ.
You have to.
You have to, but man, he has underperformed the last month. And the Rams defense, who knows? Well, I have no choice. I'll be starting him in one league this week.
Then the night game. It's going to be a good game. And I don't think this game's going to go how a lot of people think it's going to go. Titans, Packers. I mean, Derrick Henry, for sure, locked in. A.J. Brown, Corey Davis. Do you start Tannehill?
He's middle of the road. I mean, I feel like if you got to the championship with Tannehill as your quarterback, he's probably not the player that got you there. He's just there because you didn't want to take a quarterback early.
He's been a game manager.
Yeah, it's fine with me, especially when Corey Davis emerged.
Yep. Teddy Hill's a 220-yard ceiling with about 2 touchdown ceiling.
We're on nuke watch for Mr. Henry this week. He always has, every year he has that ridiculous game where he goes off for like 250 yards and like 4 touchdowns at the end of the season. And this could be the week.
Could be.
Are you starting Jonnu Smith?
No,
not with confidence at least.
On the Green Bay side of the ball, you're starting Devontae. Don't let last week fool you. You're starting Devontae Adams. I believe he's still the best receiver in fantasy football this year. You're starting Aaron Jones.
Aaron Rodgers.
He's a starter. That was my question.
I think Tanyan is a starter. I do.
Tanyan.
I think he's in the top 10 this week.
And then how? I mean, you don't get cute, right? You're starting Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, I'm starting him. He got me here. I'm going to go with him. He had a subpar week last week. I don't think he has two duds in a row. The only thing that scares me is if Derrick Henry slows the game down and the Green Bay doesn't get many possessions. But I'm rolling the dice with Rodgers. That Tennessee defense doesn't scare me.
Yep, but I still think Tennessee wins that game. And then the Monday night game, not as competitive as it probably would have thought to have been at the beginning of the season with the Bills at the Pats. The Pats, the playoff run is over. We'll see you next year.
Hopefully not next year.
The argument's over. Who was better, Tom or the system? Tom's going to go to the playoffs. The system is not. So, I guess that settles that argument.
It's not like they gave Tom a Pro Bowl roster or anything.
Right. But the Bills, you're starting at Josh Allen, you're starting Stephon Diggs. At this point, I think you're starting Cole Beasley. But that's it, right, on the Bills?
That's it.
Yeah, no running back. Well, This is another team where the best running back is the quarterback.
Yep.
And then
True that.
The Patriots, at this point, who do you starting any Patriot?
Let's just say when you're leading when you're leading three receivers are Jacoby Myers, Dymere Bird, and James White. Do I need to say more? This is kind of ridiculous. Meanwhile, Josh Allen, a ridiculous season, 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns to 9 picks, and versus Cam Newton with 5 touchdowns, 10 picks, only 2K yards. I got the Bills in this one.
Yeah,
just suspect. Well, I mean, if you were ever had to dig that deep to start a Bills running back, Patriots defense is 27th in the league against the run. But I would not be touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Not in championship week.
Oh,
it might be something you try in week 5, but you're not trying it in week 16. All right, so I guess it's time to get bold.
Well, let's review last week's picks. Let me get my...
I don't even remember what I picked.
I never remember.
Chris, you picked the Eagles over the Cardinals, which you came pretty close.
Yeah, that's a respectable one.
I picked the Chicago Bears over the Vikings, and that came true. And Jack picked the Washington football team over Seattle.
They would have won with Smith.
And all three of those came through, but I did get mine right. So at least we weren't skunked. So then Chris had predicted that Tom Brady would have 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. How'd that work out?
Let's check it out. All right, Buccaneers.
I think Tom had a pretty good day.
Stats.
Didn't start out well, but
I don't think he threw for
Brady 390 with 2 touchdowns.
Oh, there you go.
Chris, you got a winner. I had Jonathan Taylor 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't think he got 2 touchdowns, but he got
he got
110, was it?
83 yards, and he got his touchdown.
Oh, he didn't get 100 yards. Okay, well, so I didn't get that. And Jack, you predicted Gus Edwards for 100 yards and a touchdown. I do think he got
I did.
that. And then I said J.K. Dobbins would double Gus's yardage. Did that come true?
He did not. No, he did not.
What was Gus's yardage?
Dude, how did he only have 42 yards? Because they didn't feed Gus. No, Gus did, but I mean Dobbins only had 64.
Okay.
Not a big running day. They were throwing all over him.
All right, so that was it. That's all we picked. So it's the grand finale. It's your last chance to make a splash. I'm going to try to go and review the whole season and maybe come up with some numbers next week for our final episode. But bold predictions. Is anybody ready? Because I am.
Yes.
Go ahead, Chris. You go first.
Not a sexy game, but I don't know why Houston is favored by 9. I'm taking the Bengals.
Okay.
Ruining their tank?
I'm going to go
only a half game separates those teams record-wise. Just saying.
Well, the Bengals sure look good on Monday night. I just wonder if they're out of gas after that, but we'll see. I am going to go with a pretty bold prediction. I'm going to predict that the Minnesota Vikings are going to go into New Orleans and beat the Saints, because I am not convinced that the Saints are right now. Breeze looked out of sync last week. Something tells me that injury still lingers with him, and he's just trying to come back too soon. I don't know. I don't have any reason to believe that Minnesota defense can stop the New Orleans, but I just have a feeling it doesn't look like New Orleans has it all together right now, and maybe Dalvin Cook's going to have a huge day. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Minnesota Vikings upsetting the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. So that leaves you, Jack.
Well, in the battle of the NFC West, your 9-5 Los Angeles Rams will go to Seattle, take on your 10-4 Seahawks for battle for first in the division. Well, at least tied for first if the Rams win. That's what I believe will happen. The Rams win in Seattle, rebounding off their loss to the Jets last week and re-cement their place as a good team.
I agree with that. I also think that's going to happen.
I thought for sure that was going to be your pick, Chris.
He's bet on the Rams before.
I just don't know. I'm just mystified. What is Vegas seeing in Houston by? I just don't disagree. I just don't agree with Houston by 9. The way they've been playing this year, they haven't beat any team. They are 0-8 against teams with winning records.
Where's the game at?
Houston.
I think it's in Houston. Well, I don't know.
But by 9? No. I guess my pick is more picking against the spread in that game.
Well, I have it down as to win outright, so
yeah.
That's what. All right, individuals. I'll go.
Well, go ahead.
Miles Sanders is going to get 100 yards against the Cowboys and at least a touchdown.
I'm going with Mahomes, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns against the Falcons.
Come on, Jack.
Whatever. All right. I called his bluff earlier, so I'll say, give me the Derrick Henry 200-yard game.
Oh, I was leaving you Baker against the Jets.
I thought about that, but that was what do we call that? Low-hanging fruit?
Yeah.
Fair enough. 200 yards for Derrick Henry. How many touchdowns? Or are you just going to leave it at 200?
I'm just leaving it at 200.
Okay. Well, he's going to get at least one. But all right. Any last-minute supplementals? Or I usually like to try to challenge Jack's pick, but I'm not going again. I'm not rooting against Derrick Henry here. I think it is that time of year for him.
I'll double down on my GOAT prediction again. Same thing.
Tom Brady?
Yeah, 302 TDs against the Lions.
Probably a pretty safe bet. Well, I'll stick with that Tampa Bay game, too. And I'm going to say that Leonard Fournette gets at least 2 touchdowns. I'm not going to go on yardage, but you seem to be down on Fournette, and I seem to be bullish on him. So I think he's going to get 2 touchdowns. He got 2 last week.
He's hurt me too many times.
I think he'll cross the plane twice against the Lions. Jack?
I'm going to go cross sport and say the Sixers are undefeated by the time we record next episode.
Oh, lovely. Okay. That's a weird one.
Cross sport? Remember I picked Rory to win the Masters that one time and I completely failed?
Well, let's hope you're right, because I'll be rooting for the Sixers. But all right, there you have it. One more week to go. I hope that next week's episode we'll be talking about hoisting some trophies, or in Chris's case, a belt. Good luck, everybody who's in the championships. Bring home the ship. Enjoy your holidays. Hopefully you're able to visit with family. If not, I guess there's always Zoom. But happy holidays to all, and good luck in your finals if you're in. And we'll be back to recap the season. We'll have a nice, fun wrap-up to the season next week. Right, Chris?
We sure will. And, yeah.
Busts.
Yep.
Rookies of the year.
Rant week.
Yeah, and enjoy this week, too, because if you guys think back to August, we all, think about the first show. We were all talking about all the stopgaps and all the things we had in our leagues.
We had my big money league that I talk about a lot, we made a deal that if we missed more than 1 week of the season was null and void, and we got through.
Yeah, even though
a couple iffy weeks there where games were postponed, and
the Titans and Ravens tried to screw things up, but we made it.
Yep. So thankful for that, and next week, Festivus for the rest of us, airing of the grievances. We're going to have a fun next week. It'll be a great episode, so don't miss it.
Yeah, so good luck in your championships. Make sure you set your lineups. Remember that no Thursday night games this week. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday football. Three straight days of NFL action. Can't complain. That's a good Christmas gift. So happy holidays, and we'll see you next week.
Adios, amigos. Good luck.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, have you noticed how everyone's grammar is completely awful now? Like, the texting and the LOLs. Whatever happened to punctuation? I mean, drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.